Hello and welcome to Pratham Test Prep. I am Ashish Bhargav and welcome to another episode of Deep Dive session. And today's session is very important because we discuss about e-waste management in India, and this session will be on every Tuesday and Thursday at sharp 3 p.m. So we will discuss about this topic is in very detailed manner, and one humble request to each and everyone is if you are new in this channel, please subscribe the channel as well and do not forget to press the bell icon so that you will get the notification of all our Pratham Test Prep mentors. Now we go to the just a second. Yeah. So about current affairs, the best way to know about current affairs to study newspaper and magazines. One should study magazine on daily basis to be updated by current affairs. Here is the quote: a little progress each day adds up to a bigger result, and your time is limited, so don't waste it living someone else's life. Don't be trapped by dogma, which is living with the result of other people's thinking. And here a topic we can say how the e-waste you produce is providing poor children with a dangerous living. So do you remember what happened to the last 3 mobile phones in your family and that are not in use anymore? The old electrical iron box, your camera lying untouched because your phone have taken over. So are they in cupboard or is somewhere else? So in this session we discuss about how the e-waste you produce is providing poor children with a dangerous living. Discarded laptops and smartphones contain valuable metals. However, extraction usually performed by children is a crude and hazardous process that goes unregulated. As we can see in this picture, so India produces millions of tons of e-waste every year, much of which is dumped for dismantling and recycling in Silampur, which is the outskirts of New Delhi, with no regulations. So basically it's talking about like how the e-waste, electronic waste, that could be anything, your old laptop, your old cell phone, your old TV, and how this e-waste somehow is disastrous and we can say detrimental for the children health and the one who is rag pickers who is picking it up. So now how we can say that what is e-waste? Any electronic or electrical product which is discarded, which is we can not in the use, that is we can say that is a e-waste. And what are the issues? If you talk about that, what is the issue? India e-waste generation is rising at the rate of 4 to 5%. And what is the problem? Huge gap between e-waste generation and e-waste dismantling or recycling. So India is generating e-waste at an alarming level with a measure to keep check on it limited. What can be done? Handle e-waste in a scientific manner. Proper disposal should be there and all components that cannot be recycled. Increased number of dismantling recycling on units from the current number 1 to 148. So we have to discuss in a very detailed manner, and the world today, the source is taken from the Hindu. 16 billion mobile phones, and out of which 5.3 billion are estimated to go out use this year. So as we can see that 16 billion mobile phones, and out of which only 5.3 is go out of this year. There are many health effects of e-waste. It contains lead, which is used in glass panels and gasket of computer monitors, soldiers in printed circuit boards and other components. What are the health effects? Damage to central peripheral nervous system, blood systems, kidney and reproductive systems in human. Cadmium, which is used in SMD chip resistors, and the health effect is toxic cadmium compounds accumulated in human body, especially the kidney. Mercury, it is estimated that 22% of the yearly world consumptions of mercury is used in electrical and electronic equipments like lamps, switches, mobile batteries, etc., which is damage to the brain and kidneys as well as the fetus. Barium, which is a soft silvery white metal that is used in computer, causes brain swelling, muscles weakness, damage to the heart, liver and spleen. Beryllium, which is used in the motherboard of, and copper beryllium allowed to strengthen connectors and tiny plugs, while maintaining electrical conductivity that causes lung cancer and the disease. Toners, which is used in the printer, right? So that is plastic printer cartridge containing black and color toners, and the health impact is inhalation is the primary exposure pathway, and acute exposure may lead to respiratory tract irritation. That many health hazards of this. We have to got to know now that what the impact of e-waste. What is e-waste? So e-waste is a short for electronical waste and term is used to describe old and of life and discarded electronic appliances. It includes their components, consumables, parts and spares. It is categorized into 21 types into two categories. First, information technology and communication equipment, and second is consumer electrical and electronics. Is there any laws to handle all these things? Yes. So there is a laws to manage e-waste have been in place in India since 2011 and mandating that only authorized dismantlers and recyclers collect e-waste, and that's for initiative this one that was a e-waste management rules. E-waste management rule 2016 was enacted in 2017. So इंडिया का जो फर्स्ट ई वेस्ट क्लिनिक है फॉर segregating, processing and disposal of waste from household and commercial units have been set up in Bhopal, Madhya Pradesh. This information need to be remembered because the wherever the superlative word first, second, third, that is most probable having chance to ask in your exam. So e-waste clinic, first e-waste clinic which is in Bhopal, Madhya Pradesh. So originally the Basel Convention 1992 that did not mention e-waste, but later it addressed the issue of e-waste in 2006, which is called COP8, which is called Conference of Parties. Conference of Parties. Later on, Nairobi Declaration was adopted in COP9 of the Basel Convention on the control, the transboundary movement of hazardous waste, and it aimed at creating innovative solutions for the environmentally sound management of electronic waste. And I told you that in that picture, Srilampur. This one. This picture is taken from the Srilampur and source is that Indian Express. So if you look it very carefully, yeah, Srilampur on the outskirts of New Delhi is home to India's largest electronic waste, e-waste dismantling market where nearly 50,000 people scrap out a living extracting metals. Many of them are children who earn a living by dismantling, extracting and recycling e-waste. So their livelihood completely depend on particularly e-waste. Now इंडिया के अगर ई-वेस्ट प्रॉब्लम की बात करें अकॉर्डिंग टू ग्लोबल ई-वेस्ट मॉनिटर 2022 के हिसाब से world dumped 53.6 million metric tons of e-waste in 2019 and India produced 3.2 million metric tons of e-waste, much of which is dumped for dismantling and recycling in Srilampur with no regulations. Every day, trucks laden and discarded computers, desktop, screen, mobile phones and air conditioner deliver loads early in the morning. And जो pickers होते हैं that sift through the scrap and sort out circuit boards, batteries and capacitors. Some of it submerged in chemical solution or burned to retrieve a small quantity of gold, copper and other metals. And this acid bath exposes workers to toxins. India has tried to tackle this unregulated industry and introduce a series of laws in 2011 as well as 2016 mandating the authorization and registration of all e-waste recycling facilities along with directives for workers to use protective equipment while dismantling the waste. What are the challenges that is related to management of e-waste in India? Because this is very health hazard, and we can say a child who is kind of working as a rag pickers who collect them and dismantling it, so that might be the bad consequences on the particular person. So what are the challenges related to management of e-waste in India? So that a key factor in used electronic device not being given for recycling was because consumers themselves did not do so. And however, in recent years, countries around the world have been attempting to pass effective right to repair laws. Many countries have right to repair laws. Involvement of child labor, if you talk about in our country, is too much vulnerable in terms of their poverty, in terms of their malnutrition is concerned. In India, about 4.5 lakh children laborers in the age group of 10 to 14 are observed to be engaged in various e-waste activities, and that too without adequate protection and safeguard in various yards and recycling workshops. One more thing that we need to keep in mind, that many reasons for that. There is absence of any public information on most state pollution control boards, state and PCC websites. If you talk about health hazards, e-waste contains over 1,000 toxic materials, which contaminate soil and groundwater. Lack of incentive schemes, no clear guidelines are there for the unorganized sector how to handle e-waste, or there is, we can say, no incentive I mentioned into lure people engaged to adopt a formal path for handling e-waste. And if you talk about imports, so cross border flow of waste equipment into India, 80% of e-waste in developed countries meant for recycling is sent to developing countries such as India, China, Ghana and Nigeria. So though developed countries send to the in the country of India, and for the like India, China, Ghana and Nigeria also, that we need to work on upon it. The reluctance of authorities involved, lack of coordination between various authorities responsible for e-waste management and disposal, including the non-involvement of municipalities. So what are the provisions regarding e-waste in India? This is very need to be understood. So India has a formal set of rules for electronic waste management. First announced किया गया 2016 and amended in 2018. Recently, Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change has released the draft notification for electronic waste management, right? And Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change notified क्या e-waste management rule 2016 in separation of e-waste management handling rules 2011. So over 21 products, Schedule 1 were included under the purview of the rule. It included compact fluorescent lamps, CFL, and other mercury containing lamps, as well as other such equipments. And for the first time, the rules brought the producer under extended producer responsibility EPR along with targets, and the producer have been made responsible for the collection of e-waste and for exchanges. It means that if the X company will produce X product, and X product after using of 3 to 5 years or might be more than 10 years not in the use, then customer can directly call the X company, and X company will accept this one and use it in the for the dismantling the product, right? So this the very first time it was initiated. This is very good thing for the nation as well, because for the first time that rule has to be brought the producer under extended warranty. So if the X produces such items, that he or she would be so responsible in certain extent. And various producer can have a separate producer responsibility organization, which is called PRO, producer responsibility organization, which means that a company X produce a such item of Y. So after using of 3-4 years, then Y again can send to the company, and company will dismantle it and disposal in an environmentally second sound manner. What is a deposit refund schemes? That was introduced in additional economic instrument where the producer charges an additional amount as a deposit at the time of sale for the electrical and electrical equipments and return it to the consumer along with interest, which means that we can say if the X product price, X electronic price is rupees 200, so that company will charge to the 20 or 30 rupees or 50 rupees extra, so that after 5 years later, if the consumer return to the X company, and that X company will dismantling the product, or we can say e-waste the product, dispose the product so that it will not cost to their own pocket, that will goes to the customer pocket itself. That is what it is trying to say. And the the amendments rule says that. And the role of a state government, that is yeah, sorry for the inconvenience. Yeah, the role of state government, that is also been introduced to ensure safety, health, and skill development of the workers involved in dismantling and recycling operations. And जो municipal committees हैं, corporation है, that has to be assigned to duty to collect and channelize the orphan product to authorized dismantlers or recyclers. And analyze, very good afternoon. And allocation of proper space for to existing and upcoming industrial units to e-waste dismantling and recycling. Here we can see that article again from the Indian Express, as we can see in 24th of February 2020. E-waste eco park to be set up in Delhi. So collection centers will be set up across 12 zones in the city of e-waste. The eco park will have set rates for buyback of electronic goods and electronic components that can be sold to refurbishers. So if the in MCQ, if they will ask to you that which company, we can say which state have initiative to take e-waste eco park, that answer will be Delhi. And recently it has been announced, as we can see in this screenshot, that is taken on February 24, 2020. Now, which is the important takeaways for the exam. International e-waste day, that is October 14th. And the theme is recycle it all, no matter how small. As we can see, International e-waste day, 14th October 2020. Why we have chosen the day of 14th October? Anyone tell? If yes, please let me know in the comment section. E-waste contains many valuable and critical raw materials that are important for producing new electrical equipment and other products. And here is, the amount of gold recovered from 1 ton of e-waste from personal computers is more than that recovered from 17 tons of gold ore. International e-waste day. Center issue e-waste management rules. So what the article talking about? Government notified e-waste management rule 2020, and this rule is somehow the government has notified e-waste management rule 2020, which will come into force in 1st April next year, which means 2023. Apply to every manufacturer, producer, refurbisher, dismantler, and recycler of e-waste. What is the key provision of the rules? So restricted the use of hazardous substances such as lead, mercury, cadmium, and in manufacturing electrical and electronic equipment that have an adverse impact on human health and the environment. Increase the range of electronic goods covered from laptop, mobile, cameras, etc. And targets are fixed. Producer of electronic goods have to ensure at least 60% of their electronic waste is collected and recycled by 2023, with targets to increase them to 70 to 80% 2024 and 2025 respectively. And the company will report these on the online portal. Extended producer responsibility certificate, that is similar to carbon credit mechanism, and this will allow to offsetting the e-waste responsibility to a third party. So we can say environment compensation to be provided by the companies that don't meet their target. It means that if your product is not dismantler as per the government rules, that we have to pay some kind of penalties. Role of state government is that they will earmark industrial space for e-waste dismantling and recycling facilities, undertaking industrial skills development and establishing measures for protecting the health and safety of workers engaged in the dismantling and recycling facility for e-waste. Role of manufacturers, if you talk about, make the end product recyclable. A component made by different manufacturers be compatible with each other, and the role of Central Pollution Control Board CPCB. It shall conduct random sampling of electrical and electronic equipments placed on a market to monitor and verify the compliance of reduction of hazardous substances provision, which means that we can say the main work the Central Pollution Control Board that shall conduct the random sampling of electrical and electronic equipments. Impact, I told you that toxin harmful health impacts human includes damaged brain, heart, liver, kidneys, skeletal system, and this can be a significant effect on the neurological and reproductive systems as well. E-waste refers to all item of electronic electrical equipment and its parts that have been discarded by their owners as waste without the intent of reuse. And we have to keep in mind that India is the third largest e-waste generator in the world after China, and the USA globally, and the USA. It is USA having the first position, and China is the second position, and India is the third position of global e-waste monitors. India is the third largest e-waste generator in the world after China and USA. So what is the status of e-waste in India? One of the fastest growing waste stream in the world. 94% 5% of e-waste in India is recycled by the informal sector, not to be the formal sector. And background of the issue that I told you in the beginning of the class, that under e-waste management rule 2016 we have discussed in a very detailed manner, and it is mandatory for the organization to comply with the extended producer responsibility of recycling e-waste, and CPCB has registered 74 PROs, which means we can say producer responsibility organization. May 2022 में Environment Ministry ने issue किया draft notification that does away with PRO and dismantlers and vest all responsibility for recycling. बाद में क्या हुआ? Now authorized recyclers will source the quantity of waste, recycle them and generate electronic certificates. And जो कंपनी है वो बाई कर सकती है फिर से these certificates को, which is equivalent to their annual committed target, and thus do not have to be involved with engaging PRO and dismantlers. इसमें नेशनल ग्रीन ट्रिब्यूनल की क्या डायरेक्शंस हैं? फर्दर स्टेप्स लिए गए शुड हैव बीन टेकन फॉर साइंटिफिक इन्फोर्समेंट, और उसके लिए 2016 में सेंट्रल पोल्यूशन कंट्रोल बोर्ड इट नोटेड गैप्स इन कलेक्शन टारगेट्स. उसमें फिर 1.54 टन्स को क्लियर एनवायरमेंट इफेक्ट्स के लिए सब्जेक्ट किया गया. एंड CPCB में कंसीडर स्टेप्स फॉर कंप्लायंस ऑफ रूल 16 require reduction in the use of hazardous substance. जो large number of accident take place in residential areas on account of unscientific handle of e-waste. इसके लिए there should be a need of special attention for contrast vigilance in such hotspot, and this also requires review and updation of sitting norms of e-waste by the CPCB Central Pollution Control Board, which may be done within 3 months. और जितने भी स्टेट्स हैं पॉल्यूशन कंट्रोल बोर्ड्स को, उनको आप आइडेंटिफाई करनी होगी द हॉटस्पॉट बाय constant vigilance and to coordinate with the district administration at local levels to prevent damage to the environment and public health. And what is the recent ban on imports on solid plastic? तो मोदी गवर्नमेंट ने ये चीज़ बताई कि यहाँ पर दिस कंट्री इज अमंग द टॉप 5 source of e-waste, which comprises all discarded items of electrical and electronic equipment and its part. So global e-waste monitor 2017, India generated about 2 million tons of e-waste annually, ranks only behind US, China, Japan and Germany. ये मैनेजमेंट रूल्स हमारा कहता क्या है? मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ एनवायरनमेंट, फॉरेस्ट एंड क्लाइमेट चेंज ने नोटिफाई किया ई-वेस्ट मैनेजमेंट रूल को 2016 में, इन सेपरेशन ऑफ द ई-वेस्ट मैनेजमेंट एंड हैंडलिंग टू 2011. 21 प्रोडक्ट को इसमें रखा गया. फॉर द फर्स्ट टाइम ब्रॉट द प्रोड्यूसर अंडर extended producer responsibility, and the various producer that can have a separate producer responsibility organization ensure collection of e-waste. Deposit refunds schemes introduce किया गया. स्टेट गवर्नमेंट के इसमें क्या रोल होने चाहिए वो भी इंट्रोड्यूस किया गया. and the provision of penalty for violation of rules that has also been introduced. जो भी अर्बन लोकल बॉडीज़ हैं उनको ये चीज़ वार्न की गई. एंड इफ़ यू टॉक अबाउट क्या रूल्स रेगुलेशन है, ई-वेस्ट मैनेजमेंट रूल्स है, यहाँ पे एक्सटेंडेड प्रोड्यूसर रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी है. एग्जाम में दे विल डायरेक्टली आस्क टू यू दैट एक्सटेंडेड प्रोड्यूसर रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी इज लिंक्ड टू व्हाट, सो आंसर वुड बी ई-वेस्ट, राइट. एंड द and we know that इसके लिए जो laborers लाएंगे, because laborers are from the vulnerable section of the society and lack any form of bargaining power and not aware of their rights. This has a serious impact on the environment since none of the producer is followed by workers and local land dealers. अगर भाई इसमें सोल्यूशन की बात करें, इसमें क्या वे फॉरवर्ड होनी चाहिए, सो इट इज़ नीडेड टू कम अप विद अ स्ट्रैटेजी टू एंगेज विद इनफॉर्मल सेक्टर्स वर्कर्स, बिकॉज doing so will not only go a long way in better e-waste management practice but also aid in environmental protection, improve the health and working conditions of laborers and provide better work opportunity, and this will make management environmentally sustainable and easy to monitor. A need of the hour is to generate employment, which can be done through identifying and promoting cooperatives and expanding the scope of e-waste management to 2016 to these cooperatives or the informal sector workers. An effective implementation of regulation is the way ahead of to managing the e-waste that is yet to regulated in at least 115 countries. So this is all about the session, dear student, and as we know the important takeaways for the exam and all, that we all things that we have discussed in the today this in this YouTube session. And I hope that what is the important takeaway, just you need to go through it very diligently, so that make a very short notes on that, so that if in your exam if anything would like asked to you about the e-waste, that would be good for you to remind and recall all these facts. And if you are new in this channel, please subscribe the channel as well, and do not forget to press the bell icon, and make sure that we'll meet you tomorrow at sharp 11:30 a.m. for the daily newspaper analysis. So if you have any questions, please let me know in the comment section, and it would be happy to help you each and every time. Thank you so much for joining with us. अपना ख्याल रखें. Bye bye and take care once again.